Locatelli must have come down in the final sector because he didn't make it to the line on that what was looking like being a strong lap, Steve.
Yeah, that gets down at MG, just at the bottom of the hill from Lucky Heights. But for Locatelli, 5 minutes left in the session, he'll lose out a bit of running, but at least he's been really strong once again in this session. 6th fastest right now for him. But when we're seeing that flurry of fast laps come in, Gerloff moving up to 4th fastest. He's a second off the pace, but if you go all the way down the order to Loris Baz in 17th, there's only 0.6 of a second between him and his teammate, so it shows you just how closely matched that second group is, really, from Petrucci all the way down to Baz.
It also shows you how far ahead of everyone else Alvaro Bautista is, because he's the man who's making the majority of that seconds gap, of course. Bautista 0.6 of a second up on his own teammate Michael Ruben Rinaldi in P2, Petrucci in 3rd for a Ducati 1-2-3, and Bautista found another 1/10 of a second on his latest lap round, albeit that he's lost that ground now in sector 2. Garrett Gerloff a little bit held up there behind Remy Gardner. He's got through on him now down the Gardner Straight and in towards turn 1.
What's interesting with it is right now we're seeing a lot of riders really smoking up that rear tyre in a lot of different places. We're used to seeing it at turn 3 Stoner Corner, but we saw it with Van der Mark and also Gerloff through turns 11 and into turn 12 doing that. We've seen it a couple of other places as well, so it does just show just how hard the riders are pushing right now. You'll only do that when you're trying to set that single fast lap time. If you do that in race conditions, you'll just cook the tyre. So all these guys out there just trying to go for that one time attack at the end of the session, so that's why we're seeing a lot of guys just string together 2 or 3 laps now just to try and set some fast times.
Quick mention of Scott Redding just coming through the final sector now. Will complete his first flying lap of free practice 2 with 3.5 minutes on the clock. So Scott Redding is going to get a lap in, but one of the big stories of this afternoon session is the limited running that he will have managed to achieve. 3.5 minutes, Bautista leads ahead of Rinaldi, Petrucci, Gerloff and Egerter in P5. Of course, Andrea Locatelli having come to grief, at least that was through the final sector there again. We see the smoke going through the final 2 turns, this time for Dominic Egerter.
Yeah, it's always good to see how hard these riders are pushing. Egerter's style, quite interesting on the Superbike as well. Have a look at his head position through the corners. It's always right down towards as close to the ground as he can. Very unique style from Egerter. One of the things that everyone was quite interested was to see whether he'd really be able to make that adapt to a Superbike, and clearly what we've seen in this session, top 5, and what we've seen in winter testing here in Phillip Island shows that he can make it work.
Must be a man who never misses neck day, that's for sure. Less than 3 minutes on the clock in free practice 2. Dominic Egerter up in P5 as we catch up with Philip Ertl. Again, emphasise that Ducati and Yamaha have got the vast majority of those positions at the top of the timesheets in a vice-like grip. The first manufacturer from outside of those two is Alex Lowe's for Kawasaki, all the way down in 8th position. Then it's Lecuona on the Honda, and all of that counting out of the top 10, I should say. Toprak, Razgat Dioglu and Jonathan Ray down in 13th and 14th. So yes, the times are close from 4th position down, 6/10 covering 4th to 17th, but there is some work to do for several riders up and down this pecking order.
Yeah, worth saying on the combined times of today's running though, Toprak up inside the top 9, and then for Jonathan Ray 5th fastest as well, so just not showing what that pace could be in this session, but be interesting to have a look at their chrono times at the end of the session to see how long their stint lengths were, what they were working on, and then how they're going to be faring for tomorrow's race.
I don't know, giving all that up. And the session calming down now. Around about 7.5 minutes left on the clock was when we saw a flurry of activity and fast laps coming in. The final stint has calmed down somewhat now. Philip Ertl set to improve with his latest effort, and he was a rider who had his place confirmed already to stay with Team Go 11, and trying to make good use of it here. An opportunity to move up and challenge the likes of Petrucci in those top 3 positions. So solid afternoon's work as far as the number 5 Ducati is concerned, and we'll see what eventually comes out of this lap then as he makes his way through now the final sector with less than a minute to go. Phillip Island, the only rider improving as things stand, and he currently sits 7th. He does move up and challenge Danilo Petrucci. In fact, he moves past him for 3rd position in this afternoon's session, 1 minute 31.449. It's also faster than he went earlier on today in free practice 1, so moves him into 7th fastest on the combined times. Michael Ruben Rinaldi is also up on his latest effort. He's faster than Bautista through sector 1 and set to improve on his previous best in sector 2 as well. So late time attack here from Michael Ruben Rinaldi.
Yeah, for Rinaldi able to get himself back out there, so we'll wait and see what the issue was for him, but at least it was a pretty quick fix for him and for Ducati.
And a good bit of exercise as well on the old backwards walking back down the pit lane for Michael Ruben Rinaldi. He's lost a lot of ground in sector 3, so I don't think he's going to be able to improve either. That's pretty much where we're at as far as this afternoon's free practice 2, as the checkered flag falls.